Part 1. The secret language of the lower body and core. Why you need to become a human lie detector. What if you had a secret key to understanding what everyone around you is actually thinking? Not what they say, but what their body is screaming. Whether you're in a negotiation, on a first date, or just trying to figure out if your friend is genuinely happy for you, mastering body language is the ultimate social superpower. It's the difference between guessing and knowing. It's crucial for making genuine connections and deepening the relationships you already have. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through a comprehensive guide to nonverbal cues. Hundreds of movements taken straight from the expert insights of Joe Navarro, who literally wrote the book on this stuff, The Dictionary of Body Language. Seriously, go check out his work if you want to dive even deeper. But right now, let's get into the movements. Ready? Let's become observers. Let's start with the one thing most people completely ignore: spatial distancing. Zone defense, understanding personal space. Everyone, and I mean everyone, has a fundamental need for personal space. We all walk around in these invisible bubbles, and if that bubble is popped by someone who hasn't earned the appropriate level of comfort, you will see immediate, unconscious signs of distress. The size of this space is not one size fits all. It depends on culture, personal preference, and of course, your relationship with the person you're with. But generally, we break it down into 4 niche zones. Public space. This is the zone of complete strangers, ranging from about 12 to 25 feet apart. Think of a public speaker on a stage. Social space. This is for acquaintances or people you know but aren't close to. It ranges from 4 to 12 feet apart. Think coworkers or casual group settings. Personal space. This is the inner circle, reserved for close friends and family members, and it's about 1 to 4 feet. Intimate space. This is the most sacred space. Anything under 1 foot. This is only shared with partners or people you trust deeply. If you ever see a sudden flinch, a slight lean back, or an adjustment when you step into someone's space, you've just triggered a discomfort signal. Pay attention to that sudden change. Lower body, confidence, control, and the exit strategy. We often focus on faces and hands, but the lower body, the legs and feet, is the most honest part of the body. Why? Because we literally don't pay attention to it. This is where you'll catch the real signals. First, let's talk about territorial stances. We use our legs to physically claim territory, and this opens us up to being challenged. The wider the feet are apart, the higher the levels of confidence and stability this person has in themselves. You'll often see this in people in positions of power, like police officers or military personnel. It's a statement. I am anchored here. Now, what about when you get too close? That's a territorial challenge. Invading someone's personal space without the proper amount of rapport instantly triggers feelings of discomfort. Sometimes, this is done intentionally to intimidate or provoke, which is why you see it used right before a fight breaks out. A quick social hack: angling to the side. Face-to-face conversations can feel like a confrontation, even when they're not meant to be. This is why highly socially adept people approach others and talk to them at a slight angle. It instantly makes you better received and lowers the feeling of pressure. Let's move to how people walk. Walking behaviors. Some movements are deliberate, like exaggerating hip movement for sex appeal, or exaggerating shoulder movements to project confidence. But the key is to look for consistency. Sitting tells, the language of legs. When people are sitting, The gap between their legs is a very accurate indicator of their current confidence. Open legs mean more confidence, while closed legs are a sign of insecurity. But remember the context. In some formal settings, closed legs are just proper social etiquette. The key is to look for a sudden change in spacing.
Ankles locking. If you're in a formal setting and someone suddenly locks their feet, it's a sign of restraint. They might be hesitating to say something, or they're feeling uncomfortable, often happening when a controversial topic is introduced. When they lock their ankles around the chair, that's a powerful indicator that something is very wrong. Potentially a freeze response to fear. Knee clasping. Clasping the knees while leaning back is a sign of high levels of stress and nervousness. You see this a lot in interviews. Clasping the knees while leaning forward, however, is a clear signal that someone is looking to leave. Be careful not to do this when you're trying to build rapport. Crossing legs, the barrier. Crossing one leg to create a barrier is a definitive defensive position, a clear sign of discomfort. If the leg creating the barrier is the one closer to you, it's a huge sign that you or the current conversation is what's causing the negative reaction. Leg draping. Hanging your leg over objects, chairs, tables, even other people, is the opposite. It's a move often used by people who feel extremely confident and comfortable in their current environment. Pacifying the lower body. We have a whole set of movements we use to calm ourselves down, known as pacifying behaviors. Leg rubbing, knee rubbing. Rubbing the upper part of the thighs or scratching the spot above your knee with your hands. This is used to calm ourselves down in high-stress situations. Knee rubbing can sometimes also be a sign of excitement. Leg shaking, foot tapping. People often shake their legs or ankles when they are feeling restless, anxious, or impatient. Sometimes it's a habit, but often it signals a desire to get moving or a lot of pent-up energy. Foot withdrawing and frozen feet. If someone's feet suddenly stop moving, that's a freeze response. They are scared or feel threatened. If a foot suddenly withdraws, moves slightly under the chair or away, it's a near certain sign they are feeling more uncomfortable due to something that just happened. The directional compass of the feet. Feet are directional. They point toward what we want or where we want to go. Feet pointing towards someone. We unconsciously move towards things we desire. If someone is stationary with a crush, their feet will point directly at that person. Foot turning away. When someone turns a single foot away from the person they're talking to or toward the nearest exit, they are signaling that they want or are getting ready to leave. They are becoming uncomfortable. If both feet are turned toward the nearest exit or away from the person they're interacting with, that's a clear, strong sign of dislike for the person or the interaction itself. The core, protection, and state of being. The core of the body is one of the most vulnerable areas, and we have several unconscious behaviors designed to protect it or signal its state. Deep versus shallow breath. Rapid, deep breathing is a sign of stress, fear, or anger, but it's context-dependent, like finishing a set at the gym. Rapid, shallow breathing, however, is almost always a sign of fear or anxiety. The more shallow, the higher the anxiety. You can actually help someone by instructing them to take large breaths slowly. Pressing on solar plexus. Pressing this area, which is filled with many nerves, creates a calming, pacifying effect when stressed. You can gauge how stressed someone is by how hard they are pushing. Palm on chest. This is used to show sincerity. However, both honest and deceptive people use it. Honest people tend to use more force with fingers wide apart, while deceptive people use less force with only the fingertips touching. Belly away, belly towards. The belly area is vulnerable, and we'll turn it away from someone if they make us uncomfortable or if we disagree with them. Conversely, when we like or feel comfortable with someone, we'll turn our belly towards them. If a stranger's belly area is still facing away after 30 minutes, it's usually a sign they'd prefer you to leave. Belly covering. Covering the belly area with an object, bag, pillow, hand, is another universal indicator of feeling scared or vulnerable. Mirroring. This is when someone unconsciously copies your body language, like leaning the same way. It is a sign that both individuals feel comfortable with each other and are likely in agreement.
Part 2. The command center. Torso, shoulders, and arms. Torso tactics. Vulnerability and defense. When you observe someone's posture, you're looking at a live signal of their comfort and fear. Rigid sitting. Imagine someone sitting bolt upright, barely moving, like a statue. This is a clear freeze response. The fear is so intense they can't even move. It's often seen in high-stress environments like interrogations. Ejection seat effect. This is the cinematic version of fear. Gripping the armrests of a chair tightly, as if preparing to be launched out of a fighter jet. This is another freeze response signaling extreme terror. Slouching. When someone intentionally slouches more than usual, it's often a low-key display that they don't really care about what's being said. While it signals a lack of engagement, you should definitely avoid this in formal settings, as it projects disrespect. Doubling over. Bending over at the waist, whether sitting or standing, like they're in stomach pain. This is a sign of deep emotional turmoil. They've received extremely bad news and are trying to physically contain the feeling. Fetal position. Bringing knees up to the chest and curling into a ball. This is a dramatic signal of experiencing extreme negative emotions and is a fundamental strategy to deal with overwhelming stress. Hip hang-ups. Stress and signals. Even the hips get involved in the conversation, primarily around stress and boredom. Hip shifting. Wiggling their butt while sitting. This can be boredom or stress. Joe Navarro notes this often happens in debates when a participant gets too emotional. It's an unconscious move to calm themselves down. Hip rubbing. Rubbing the side of their hips up and down. This is typically a pacifying movement, indicating nervousness. They might also just have sweaty hands, but in context, it's a good stress indicator. Hip rocking versus hip sway. Rocking back and forth signals severe stress, like dealing with a major trauma. Swaying left to right is usually a sign of boredom. Apparently, this movement replicates the soothing feeling of being rocked as a baby. Hips out. When someone stands with one leg slightly bent, pushing their hip out, which makes the butt look bigger. It's an attention-grabbing move used by both men and women, often seen in the courting process. Genital framing versus covering. Genital framing, thumbs inside pants and belt, is a strong dominance display, mostly by men, to appear bigger, stronger, and draw attention. Genital covering with hands is the opposite, used when one feels anxious and needs to protect this vulnerable area. The hands-on approach. Status and connection. Hands are where much of the intentional and unconscious social signaling happens. Touch and relationships. Touch and status. Higher status people tend to initiate touch with lower status people more often than the reverse.
For example, your boss is more likely to tap your shoulder than you are to tap theirs. This can be a useful tool for figuring out the social niche hierarchy in any situation. Touch and rapport. If two people are touching each other and getting touched back, it signals high levels of comfort, typically seen among family, best friends, and couples. A sudden drop in this reciprocal touching suggests an underlying issue in the relationship. Power and territory displays. Hands on hips with thumbs back, arms akimbo. This is a classic dominance display, often seen in authority figures. It signals the person is ready, alert, and probably has something important or a complaint to voice. Territorial hand display. Taking up a lot of space on a table or desk with the hands. This is a form of intimidation. The angrier the person is, the more space they will claim. Pushing away from table. Suddenly extending the arm and pushing the body away from a table or counter. This is a very clear indicator of disagreement or feeling threatened. The quicker the movement, the stronger the emotion. Object placement, barriers. People who surround themselves with objects are claiming territory. You can also tell how someone feels about you. If they like you, they'll clear objects away between you. If they dislike the interaction, they will move objects to create a barrier. Hand steeple. Bringing the fingertips of the hands together, like a movie villain. This is a strong sign of confidence and is most common among those in power. It shows full belief in what is being said.
The language of the palm. The way someone presents their palms is often a huge, visible tell. Palms up. Speaking with palms facing up, often seen in TED Talks. This is used by people who want to be accepted or believed. It's a nonverbal way of saying, "My hands are clean, I have nothing to hide," and can also convey humility. Palms down. Making a downward movement with the palms. This is usually done when declaring something with conviction, like "I did not do it." The stronger the movement, the more honest they are likely being. Hand movement restriction. Studies show that when people lie, they use their hands and arms less, trying to seem less suspicious. However, shy or anxious people do this too. The key is the change. If someone who is normally animated suddenly restricts their movement while making a claim, their confidence in that claim is likely much lower. Hand pacifiers and insecurity. The hands are constantly employed in pacifying behaviors to relieve stress. Hand wringing. Rubbing or squeezing parts of the hands like wringing out a towel. A sign of negative emotions, anxiety, doubt, or stress. Jittery hands. Hands are shaking. This could be extreme excitement or stress, like after a traumatic moment. Or it could indicate a medical issue or drug use. Self-touching while answering. Using hands to stroke the other hand, arm, or even leg while answering a question. These are all pacifying movements that suggest a lack of confidence in the answer being given. Interlaced fingers. Thumbs up. High levels of confidence, similar to the hand steeple. Thumbs down. Lower confidence or currently experiencing negative emotions. You can watch thumbs subtly go up and down during a conversation for real-time emotional insight. Closeness and distance. When someone feels scared or concerned, they instinctively bring their fingers closer together, sometimes even clenching into a fist. This is an ancient defensive reflex. Conversely, the more distance between the thumb and the other fingers, the more confident someone is currently feeling. Holding furniture. Using hands to hold on to the edge of a table or the armrest of a chair is a subtle sign of doubt and insecurity.
especially when making a declaration. Navarro often observed this when people were forced to say something they didn't want to say. Preening and annoyance. Preening. Any movement to fix oneself. Adjusting a tie, fixing hair, reapplying lipstick. We do this when we want to impress someone. Hair preening is especially common when attracted to someone nearby. Even small acts, like pulling on a jacket, can make you appear more likable. Dismissive preening. This is preening used to disrespect the person you're interacting with, like cleaning nails or picking lint while being lectured. Don't do this in a serious conversation. Elbows and dominance. Hand on leg with elbow out. Sitting with a hand on the leg but the elbow jutting out. This is a territorial display, signaling high confidence by claiming more space. Elbows widening. Bending the elbows to take up more space, like arms akimbo or putting them behind the head. A territorial sign of high confidence, often used to emphasize a point. Elbows narrowing. Reducing the amount of space the elbows take up, a sign of insecurity and a lack of confidence. Part 3. The head, hands, and the ultimate expression of emotion. Hand expressions. The unspoken story. Your hands are incredibly active communicators, often betraying emotions long before words do. Finger pointing. Direct, assertive, and sometimes aggressive. While it can be used for emphasis or to direct attention, pointing at someone often feels like an accusation or an act of dominance. Fingers spread apart. When someone's fingers are spread wide and relaxed, it typically signals comfort and confidence. This is a common posture when someone is feeling at ease or making a strong, truthful assertion. Fingers clenched together. Fist. The opposite of spread fingers. A clenched fist, or even just tightly held fingers, is a primal response to stress, fear, or anger. It's a subtle sign that someone is on edge or feeling threatened. Fingers on the lips. This is a pacifying behavior used to soothe oneself when experiencing anxiety or deep thought. It can also indicate that someone is holding back from speaking or is considering their words very carefully. Finger wagging. Often used to scold, warn, or emphasize a point, especially in anger. It's a highly confrontational gesture and should be used with caution, as it can easily escalate a tense situation. The vulnerable neck, stress and comfort. The neck is a highly vulnerable area, and protecting it is an instinctual response to discomfort or perceived threat. Neck touching. One of the most common pacifying behaviors for both men and women. When stressed, men often use a strong, forceful rub on the back of their neck, sometimes even pinching the skin. Women tend to touch the front or sides of their neck, often playing with jewelry or the skin itself. It's a clear indicator of anxiety or worry. Neck exposing. The opposite of neck touching. When someone feels completely safe and comfortable, they might lean back and expose their neck, often seen in relaxed settings. This is a sign of extreme confidence and a feeling of security in the environment. Neck clasping. When someone suddenly clasps the back of their neck, it's often a sign of deep frustration or exasperation, as if they're literally holding their head together under pressure. It signals internal conflict or regret. The face, micro-expressions, and the truth. The face is a complex canvas of emotion, often revealing subtle cues that are hard to fake. However, it's also the most controlled part of the body, so always look for consistency with other body parts. Chin up, a sign of confidence, defiance, or pride.
Someone holding their chin high is often feeling good about themselves or challenging an idea. Chin down can indicate shame, fear, or submission. When the chin is tucked in, it's a protective measure, hiding vulnerability. Chin rubbing, a contemplative gesture, often seen when someone is deep in thought, making a decision, or evaluating information. It's a natural accompaniment to problem solving. Head tilting. Tilting the head to one side often signals interest or curiosity. It's a way of signaling, I'm listening and engaged. Head nods. Slow nods signify agreement or encouragement, like, keep going, I'm with you. Fast nods can indicate impatience, agreement, or a desire to speed up the conversation. Context is key here. Nods of disagreement, a subtle upward jerk of the head, often accompanied by narrowed eyes. It's a quick way to signal no without saying it. Head shaking. While usually a universal sign for no, a slight, almost imperceptible shake can also be a pacifying behavior when someone is stressed or trying to mentally shake off an idea they don't like. Head back. Throwing the head back, often with laughter, signifies genuine amusement or a strong positive emotion. When done without laughter, it can be a sign of arrogance or disdain. Forehead wrinkling often signals worry, confusion, or concentration. Vertical lines between the brows, the frown lines, are common when someone is stressed or deep in thought. Eyebrow flash, a quick, almost imperceptible raising and lowering of the eyebrows. It's a universal greeting or a sign of recognition and approval from a distance. Eyebrow raising, single, can indicate doubt, skepticism, or surprise. It's like a nonverbal question mark. Eyebrow raising, both, signals surprise, shock, or a question. The higher they go, the stronger the surprise. Eye blocking. When someone closes their eyes or rubs their eyelids, even subtly, after hearing or seeing something they don't like. It's an unconscious attempt to block out unwelcome information. Eyebrow tensing. The eyebrows furrowing and tensing is a clear sign of stress, anxiety, or deep concern. Tight lips. When the lips disappear, becoming a thin line. This is a strong sign of negative emotion, stress, anger, or extreme disapproval. It's an unconscious effort to literally hold back feelings. Lip pursing. Puckering the lips slightly. This is often a sign of disagreement or critical thought, as if they are tasting something they don't like or considering an alternative. Lip biting. A common pacifying behavior used to soothe oneself when feeling anxious or uncertain. It can also indicate a struggle to hold back words. Lip licking can be a sign of nervousness, dry mouth, or attraction. Context is important. When paired with other stress signals, it points to anxiety. Lip compress. When lips are pressed firmly together. Similar to tight lips, it signals an attempt to control emotions, often anger or frustration. Smiling, genuine versus fake. A genuine smile, Duchenne smile, involves the eyes. The corners crinkle and the eyes narrow slightly. A fake smile often only involves the mouth, lacking the eye engagement. Watch for the eyes. Rapid blinking can be a sign of high cognitive load, stress, or deception. People tend to blink more rapidly when under pressure or actively trying to suppress information. Squinting narrows the eyes, often to show skepticism, disagreement, or to get a clearer view of something confusing. Pupil dilation When someone is genuinely interested, surprised, or sees something they like, their pupils will dilate. It's an involuntary physiological response. Gaze aversion. Avoiding eye contact can signal discomfort, shyness, or deceit, but it's culturally dependent. In some cultures, direct eye contact is seen as rude. Staring. Prolonged, intense eye contact can be a sign of aggression, dominance, or deep infatuation. The emotional intent behind it dictates its interpretation. Cheeks flushing. When the cheeks turn red, it's often due to embarrassment, anger, or excitement. It's an involuntary physiological response to strong emotions. Putting it all together, the holistic view. Now, here's the most important takeaway from all of this. Never judge a single gesture in isolation. A single gesture, like crossing arms, could mean many things. But when you see a cluster of signals, crossed arms, feet pointed away, tight lips, and a quick neck rub, you have a much clearer picture of someone's discomfort. Becoming a master observer takes practice. Start small. Watch for the pacifying behaviors in yourself and others. Look for sudden changes in niche zones. Notice when someone's feet change direction. The more you practice, the more these subtle cues will jump out at you, giving you an unparalleled advantage in understanding the silent language of the body. You'll not only protect yourself from deception, but also build deeper, more authentic connections with everyone you meet. So, next time you're in a conversation, don't just listen to the words. Watch the whole story unfold.